dreams where I can't move a thing, thinking of you in my bed. No angel, but you got a halo. It's full of vibe and contagious. Look in your eyes, that is dangerous. Grateful I had all the patience. That's what it's like, loving.
Star 927.
Pumping beats for the streets.
Reintroducing an old favorite and the only local family dining experience in Cayman. Champion House 2 have joined forces with the local eatery and is now open with a diverse food and adult beverage offering. Join us during the week for our buffet breakfast or lunch, or de-stress weekends on Fridays from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. and Saturdays until 12 a.m. Music to keep you entertained, catering services to suit any budget. Let the local eatery at Champion House 2 cater to you by calling 916-5736 or 329-5550, or place your order via Island Grub or the Let's Eat app today.
Cayman National's online banking is still the best way for you to bank, and at Cayman National, you can access your banking when you need it. Enjoy safer, easier, and discounted banking from the comfort of your home or wherever you are. Manage your everyday banking needs, such as checking account activity, paying bills, transferring funds between accounts internally and domestically, and much more. Remember, we're stronger together through our efforts to keep the Cayman community healthy.
It's hump day. Roll back. Roll back.
Every Wednesday and Thursday, all Rubis stations are rolling back the price on all fuel purchases by 20 cents. Every customer will save 20 cents on every gallon of fuel purchased on Wednesday and Thursday. Every customer. Only at Rubis.
Roll back. Roll back.
Only at participating Rubis service stations.
Flow is excited to bring you everything you'll ever need in a mobile plan. Be the superhero in your family and get the new mobile family plan. The family plan gives you up to 4 lines for $60 per line per month with unlimited talk and data. You heard right. Unlimited talk and data. Don't miss out on getting your family plan with Flow today. Visit discoverflow.ky/family for details. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Flow Cayman Islands. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, you deserve the best.
Live from Star 927 Studios in the center of Cayman's capital city, Georgetown. This is Straight Talk with Ruth Anna.
Good evening, everybody. You are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young, always honored to be your host here on Straight Talk every Monday through Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here and nowhere else other than Star 92.7. It is 5:04 on the Star 92.7 clock, and it is the 5th of August, Wednesday, the 5th of August, winding our way on through the week. Special shout out to Mr. Theodore of 24/7 Towing. I gotta tell you, like, Mr. Theodore, every evening he tunes into this show, and sometimes he will record bits and pieces and play it back to me and send me his feedback. Like, you're super. Thank you to all you who continue to tune in each and every evening, whether it be by radio or by Facebook or online, whatever means, or YouTube, whatever means you choose to tune into. I appreciate that you continue to listen to this show and continue to be loyal to the Straight Talk and the Star platform. And of course, today I have 2 segments. I have Flo with me until 5:30, and we're going to continue conversations. For those of you who missed it the first time, Flo has launched an unprecedented, I think, first time of its kind plan in the Cayman Islands, unlimited. Let's label it there. If you haven't heard about it, you'll get to hear about it, and a few other exciting announcements from Flo. So keep it locked straight to 5:30 to hear what Flo is up to this afternoon. And then joining me at 5:30, we have political hopefuls Mr. Michael Miles and Alric Lindsay. They are making their media rounds as they've made their announcement in their intention to stand for the 2021 election. So we will hear from from them as well. I have already had listeners who are aware that they're coming on. I've seen posts on Facebook send through questions and comments already. So I think they are ready to answer your questions and to share their thoughts and comments with you as well. So they'll be with me from 5:30 to 6 o'clock this evening. But you guys know the deal. Before we go any further in our time together, we always start our time with a reading of today's Daily Bread. So today's Daily Bread is entitled Loved, Beautiful, Gifted. And the scripture comes from Romans 6, verse 16, Romans 8, verse 16, and reads, "The Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children." Malcolm appeared confident as a teenager, but this confidence was a mask. In truth, a turbulent home left him fearful, desperate for approval, and feeling falsely responsible for his family's problems. For as far back as I remember, he says, every morning I would go into the bathroom, look into the mirror, and say out loud to myself, "You are stupid, you are ugly, and it's your fault." Malcolm's self-loathing continued until he was 21, when he had a divine revelation of his identity in Jesus. "I realized that God loved me unconditionally, and nothing would ever change that," he recalls. "I could never embarrass God, and He would never reject me." In time, Malcolm looked in the mirror and spoke to himself differently. "You are loved, you are beautiful, you are gifted," he said, "and it's not your fault." Malcolm's experience illustrates what God's Spirit does for the believer in Jesus. He frees us from the fear by revealing how profoundly loved we are and confirms that we are children of God with all the benefits that status brings. As a result, we can begin seeing ourselves correctly by having our thinking renewed. Years later, Malcolm still whispers those words each day, reinforcing who God says he is. In the Father's eyes, he's loved, beautiful, and gifted, and so are we. Thanks be to God for that word today. As always, here on Straight Talk, we remind you, we encourage you to spend time each and every day focused on his word, meditating on his grace and how awesome he is. With that, I open up my microphones. 943-3700 is the line in studio. You can also reach me by WhatsApp. You can message by WhatsApp 324-1565, or you can email me at straighttalkci@gmail.com. And of course, for those of you who are tuned in on the Facebook feed, you can leave your questions or comments there, and I can share them with whoever the guests are and read them aloud for you. For those who are just tuning in, I have Miss Alyssa Christian from Flow in with me until 5:30, and then I will have Mr. Michael Miles and Alric Lindsay join me from 5:30 to 6 o'clock this evening. So we have a full hour. But Miss Alyssa, how are you doing? How's the last few
I'm
weeks been?
good. Yeah, I've been busy. Lots of exciting stuff going on. So, never a dull moment over here, but everything's good.
Awesome. And so last we spoke, you guys were launching your Family Unlimited plan, the first of its
Yeah,
kind, to my knowledge, here in the Cayman Islands.
it
And
is.
I just the other day, Alyssa, I ran into someone
Mhm.
and they were talking about like the cost of their plan. I said, have you checked out like the Flow Unlimited plan? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, and I literally launched into one of those, like, girl, you haven't heard about this? Like, this is this.
Yeah.
And if it's up to 4 lines, it's $60 a line. If it's just you by yourself, and I hope I got the numbers right, because if it's just one line, it's $90 for the line. Is it?
So we don't have a one line. It's two
Okay.
lines is the
Okay.
minimum,
So
but that is $90 per line for the
okay.
two.
Got it. And I
Mhm.
was like, you have to be a Flow broadband customer. It doesn't matter what level of
Mhm.
broadband it is. Like, I launched into a
Mhm.
full, like, I don't know, you need to get that bill under control, right?
It's
It was,
true. It's true.
yeah, and because it started with a conversation about like some international calls to me, and I was like, no, the plan includes 600 international minutes. Like, this is the plan.
You
And so I was like, so that the
really
conversation.
retain that information.
So for those who have not heard, you don't want to miss this information, because trust me,
Yeah.
once something's put in your path, suddenly you get engaged in all these conversations, right? And to be honest, I've had that conversation more than once in the last few weeks since we last spoke about the plan, because people are always talking about their phone bills, and there was another conversation where someone was talking about they're giving their 12-year-old a phone, right? that whole conversation. They're not yet, or at that time they weren't on the Flow Family Unlimited plan, and they were trying to figure out what their 12-year-old was doing with the data, right? And
Well, this is the solution to all your
yes,
problems.
yes. And so I want you to just, for those who may not have heard it when you guys launched or missed the announcements when it came out on social media, share with them the details of what's included in this newest plan that has been rolled out, a one of a kind, first of its kind from Flow.
Yeah, we're really excited. So again, it's unlimited, right? It's all about family, having everybody, under control, knowing what they're doing, taking the worry out, having one bill. So there's different offers, and if you go to discoverflow.ky/family, it's all laid out there. But you can do 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines. Obviously, the more lines you do, the less it is per line. But all of them include the same thing. So it's unlimited data, unlimited WhatsApp, unlimited local text, and that's Flow to Flow and Flow to Digi. Unlimited local minutes, again, any network. 600 international minutes, and then when you roam in the somewhat near future, you'll have free incoming calls for roaming.
Okay.
So that's all
that's
included.
The part I forgot to tell them. Thank you for sharing that. That's the bit I forgot to tell them. I forgot to include the roaming information.
You don't have to worry about that right now, but when we do get back around to that, that's going to be important, right? So you can call and say, hey, don't forget to pick this up for me, or hey, I need this, I forgot to add it to the shopping list, or whatever. So it's really great. Everybody, I mean, for what the price is, if you've got a family of 4, it's $60 per line for unlimited, 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 unlimited. Like I can't say that enough. Like, toss the phone in the back seat to the kids so they can watch YouTube while you're sitting in traffic or on the way to school, or there's just no worry for this. And somebody asked me this morning how long they have to sign up to it, and I said, you like, this is it. It's here. This is not a limited time offer. This is what it is. This is the new way of life. But the sooner you sign up, the sooner you start saving. So why would you wait? Why wait? But you're right. You do have to be a broadband customer. But I know we talked about Superhero a couple of weeks ago, and that's still available. The 200 megs and Watch All TV. But it's any broadband that we offer.
That as a matter of fact, the person that I was sharing with about the most recently about the plan, when I said it to them, I mentioned the broadband. I said, oh, we already have Flow broadband. I was like, see, you already halfway there. Like, you are already halfway there. You meet the qualification criteria. And so they already have a Flow broadband. So I hope they reached out and got signed up, because they seem like perfect candidates for the plan. And
everybody's a perfect candidate for this plan. Everybody. Like, this is just stress-free, worry-free. You don't have to think, oh, how many minutes do I have left? It's the end of the month. I got to stretch this out. Or, like, you don't have to worry about credit or topping up, or can my 12-year-old get in touch with me? Do they have enough credit? That's done.
Yes, those days are done. And it makes it that much better when it is like, for nowadays, not only adults have phones in the home most of the time, because a lot of times people don't have house phones anymore. So I know that in our house, when we were discussing it, between the two adults, the two parents, us as parents, and of course we have our nanny, it's a perfect, because we don't have a house phone, right? And so it was like, okay,
that's what we did. Yeah.
That's it. We can make sure that you said that same question about not having to think, oh, well, does she have credit on the phone? If that kind of stuff, it's okay. We know that everybody is covered. Elisa, yet I don't have to think about that. But one of the things I said, okay, well, to get maximum benefit out of this, I was like, let me talk to my sister. Okay, let me talk to my sister, that we can all join up on the same plan. So there are many ways that this can be configured for maximum benefit. But even still, if it is 2 lines, two phone lines, $90 a line for unlimited, like unlimited data and minutes.
I guarantee that's like less than what the majority of people are already paying right now.
Oh, hands
I'll tell
down.
you that 100%.
Hands down. Okay.
Yeah.
I won't even launch into a conversation. And see, they keep coming back to me because after we had the show, like I came up on a number of scenarios. So I was talking to someone and they were in a rant about how their bill had gotten with one of the providers had gotten really high because of data usage, right? And they
That'll get
realized
you.
and they realized that it was because their little one had been watching YouTube incessantly on their cell phone and
Yep.
it wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi. And
Yep.
so in that conversation, it allowed me to be like, oh, wait, hold on. There's a solution to that. Have you heard about the FLOW
There
family
it-
on it plan?
I'm telling you, it's
Mhm.
magic.
It,
Magic. We've solved all your problems. From
yes.
billing to the value to the no worry to one bit. Like it's all there.
And it makes it super easy. So I know if you go to discoverflow.ky, and I'm going to post the link right now in the Facebook feed. Now it is your basically your top banner on your page, and it says family plan, unlimited data and minutes, up to 4 lines. So it's right there. And if you click that, it takes you to the page that is specified for that. So discoverflow.ky/family. And for those who are tuned in via Facebook, I'm going to give you this link right now in the Facebook feed. But if they want to get set up, how do they, is there a way for them to do it over the phone, or do they have to come into one of the stores? How does someone get signed up if they're not yet on this plan?
Yeah. So our virtual store is still going, and let me just stress like the convenience of that store. It's a WhatsApp virtual store, so don't call it WhatsApp. 925-3569 and
925
3569.
Okay. All right. So that's your WhatsApp.
And so not only are you talking to an agent, you're saving time. You're not having to go into a store. You're saving gas. You're saving on sitting in traffic. And we're also offering, we're still offering delivery of SIMs and phones through the WhatsApp virtual store. Yeah. So it's super, super convenient. So that's been huge through COVID, and it's still our biggest channel. If you want to speak to an actual agent, you can call 747-5050, and that's somebody locally in our customer care team. But then our Brack store, our Galleria store, and our Countryside store are open.
Okay, and if you could give me that landline number one more time, please, the one that gets to a local customer service agent.
Yeah, 747-5050.
All right, I'm putting all of these in the Facebook feed for those who are tuned in on Facebook as well, because we know that is always now, especially in this environment where we've transitioned to. There's almost that expectation of being able to complete a lot of business either over the phone or the WhatsApp store. Via WhatsApp you get delivery and otherwise, so it makes it super easy. And so if someone wanted to, let's say they are not already a broadband customer and they wanted to get broadband in their home, and then also sign up for the FLOW Unlimited plan, do they need to is that what is the process for that look like? Timeline for people who are saying I need to get this unlimited plan right now, but I'm not yet a broadband customer. What does the timeline look like at present?
That's a good question. And I'll have to check on that because I don't know. I'm sure we can say if you're signing up for it, then we'll go ahead and activate your mobile plan. But don't quote me on that. So let me come back to you with an answer on that one. But we've had really good turnaround times actually lately. And do you know what? Even during COVID, our technical team has been out there, and they never stopped. We were still doing installs. We were still doing repairs. So, we're not backed up like I'm hearing, from some of my colleagues in other countries. We were allowed to keep functioning, and we were able to keep everybody connected. So we're so grateful that we were, deemed as essential and that we were able to do that for everybody.
That's awesome. And you know that it's been about what, 4 weeks since you launched the plan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's some people who may just be hearing about it, but there's others who may have jumped on the bandwagon early. Or even as people hear about it, what's some of the feedback that you have coming in from the community, about the launching of this plan? Like, what are people saying?
People are excited. This is not anything new. We've all heard this in the UK. We've all heard this in the US. This is very familiar territory. And I think these are the questions we've been asking ourselves, and customers have been asking us, why can't we have stuff like this? Why can't we have better pricing? So we are just so excited that finally now we can do that. And if you have friends or family who haven't heard about it, you need to be telling them. But everybody who's hearing about it, generally the majority, I should say, is positive, and people are excited, and they're getting signed up, and they're getting everybody involved and on their plan. It's great.
Yes, I would be in complete agreement with that, because this is, and I will admit, especially for those of us who lived any stint in the US at any point and got so used to unlimited minutes and unlimited text and unlimited data, and then you return home, and this is years ago now, and you return home and that's not the case. It is a welcomed addition to your services, because so much I think more than ever, so much of what we do is either via the phone, WhatsApp, video calling, Zoom, all those sorts of things. And I know by virtue of my own life, you aren't always able to do that like by Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
And a plan
Right.
like this allows you. When I think about how many times I have a meeting, right? Whether it's Zoom or WhatsApp call or otherwise, in the car, in a parking lot, because it is the most convenient use of time. Because maybe, like, prime example, this morning, I had a meeting for coffee at 10 o'clock, but I had a video call meeting at 9.
Yeah.
By
And
doing
you got to
that
get
via
there. Yeah. Yeah.
right, I went to the parking lot of the coffee shop early so that I could do my video call from the car, so I could transition straight from the video meeting on the video to straight into the coffee shop. And when that, and so many people are living their life like that right now, and just it's a I think it's going to be what it looks like moving forward, right? I don't foresee it changing. We're getting used to
100%.
we're getting used
Yeah.
to using these technologies to keep us connected, to use to use video conferencing and otherwise, as opposed to meeting in person, whether you're in the same country or not. And it just eliminates some of that concern over, wait, let me connect to the Wi-Fi, et cetera, so that you're not using up all of your data or overrunning your bill. And so for those who need it for business, it is also such a wonderful benefit. Or maybe you have family that doesn't live here and you don't know when you're going to get to see them. There's so many scenarios that makes this the absolute perfect plan for, like you say, for anybody really. And
So these are, but these are only residential. Our business version of this is just being finalized. So hang tight and we will announce those as soon as we can. So yeah, but even still.
Well, I mean, even
have to
my
worry.
line isn't necessarily a business line, but I have it's my
Right, but
personal
you
stuff
still, yeah, from it,
right?
exactly.
And like for me, I'm a real estate agent, and my business is literally on the phone, on the internet
Exactly,
all the
but you're
time,
not
right?
worrying about, and you're not worrying about business call versus person. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's done. It's just all over.
Yes, and so yes, that's a good way to put it, Alyssa. And so for those who are just tuning in, whether it be on the radio or the Facebook, if we could just go over the details of this plan. Roughly 4 weeks ago, Flow launched their Family Unlimited plan. Unlimited, like unlimited. like data and minutes?
Data, minutes, WhatsApp, local SMS, so text messages, sorry.
We still
600
use
international minutes.
those. We still use those. We still use
Yeah,
SMS.
and then free roaming incoming calls. And it just depends on how many lines you have. And if you go to discoverflow.ky, you can get all the different pricing.
Yep. And that, like, I just keep thinking about all the times and all the people who have had bills go out of control and or having to
Yeah.
limit yourself. And even when you think about SMS messages, right? It is handy to have that in there, but let's be realistic. Nowadays, one of the primary reasons why we use SMS, I know, and for me, a lot of times I end up having to like if I need to message someone via regular text, is because you send them a message on WhatsApp and you realize, okay, maybe they're not connected to the Wi-Fi and they don't have data, so it hasn't gone through yet. Like, okay, let me
Yeah.
send them an SMS message so they get it, even though they're not connected to data. Now, imagine if they were part of the Family Unlimited plan. That
Exactly.
would be an issue,
Exactly.
right? Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi, doesn't matter. Unlimited data, they're always connected, always a way to connect with other people because we know how like how much we use all of this in our life right now. It's a standard part of, oh wait, how do we find this X, Y, and Z place? Because even in Cayman is new, and that's I find myself in that scenario. You're out and you're looking for a particular location. You're Googling or Facebooking or whatever you need to do to find where something is located. New businesses pop up if you're looking for a particular address. So all those things, you don't have to be concerned about any of it. And I want to just stress on behalf of Flow that the unlimited minutes are not only to Flow. It is unlimited to, and is it any cell phone, any landline? Like, does it matter? Does it?
It is unlimited minutes, any network.
I gotta verify because I feel like we hear it and it's like, okay, is it really unlimited? Like, or is it unlimited just to cell phones? Or is it, so I gotta ask because I know people are wondering. But
It
is
is
completely
unlimited for any network.
So that's excellent news. And anyway, if it's 2 lines, and if you visit the discoverflow.ky, it outlines, if you have 2 lines connected to the plan, it's $90 per line. If it's 3 lines, it goes down to $70 per line. And if you have the 4 lines, and it's a maximum of 4 lines within the family plan, yes? If I'm correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
4 lines max.
4 lines, then you go down to $60 per line, and each individual line gets their unlimited data, unlimited anywhere text, unlimited local minutes, and each line gets 600 international minutes. Right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Okay. So
I'll double
each line,
check that, but yeah, this should be, these are for each line.
okay.
Yeah.
So that and unlimited free incoming calls when you are roaming, which is awesome. So right before we go out to the break, just remind everyone where to find your, what's your website, what's the number for the WhatsApp store, how do they reach customer service, if they need to speak to someone in customer service locally, and what stores and locations you have open if they want to go in person to get signed up for the Flow Family Unlimited plan.
Yep. So discoverflow.ky for this specific plan, you'll just do /family plan. The WhatsApp virtual store is 925-3569. Local customer care to speak to somebody in Cayman is 747-5050. And then retail stores that are open are Galleria, Countryside, and the BRAC.
Awesome. Alyssa, as always, a pleasure to have you in the
Thank you.
And
Thanks for being our little ambassador. You're a star.
Listen, but y'all have made it easy, right? Because now every time you've literally made it so easy for me to do so. And I will say, like, this is not paid advertising, guys. Like, I promise you,
No, it really isn't.
It made it so, because now when I hear people complaining about their phone bill, I'm like, wait, did you check out the Flow Family plan? And they're like, what's that? And I was
You're just doing a good deed. You're doing a good deed.
Honestly, because I think that we are all quite tired of having to exorbitant phone bills. So this is an awesome addition to your portfolio. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Guys, we are going out to our first break of our time together. When we come back, we will have Mr. Alric Lindsay and Michael Miles in the virtual studio with me. They just recently announced their intention to stand for the coming election. So we'll hear from them. Questions have already started to come in. So keep it locked for some more Straight Talk on Star 92.7.
Join the conversation. The phone lines are now open. 943-3700. You can also find us on Facebook or email us at straighttalkci@gmail.com.
Cayman National's online banking is still the best way for you to bank, and at Cayman National, you can access your banking when you need it. Enjoy safer, easier, and discounted banking from the comfort of your home or wherever you are. Manage your everyday banking needs, such as checking account activity, paying bills, transferring funds between accounts internally and domestically, and much more. Remember, we're stronger together through our efforts to keep the Cayman community healthy.
Reintroducing an old favorite and the only local family dining experience in Cayman. Champion House 2 have joined forces with the local eatery and is now open with a diverse food and adult beverage offering. Join us during the week for our buffet breakfast or lunch, or de-stress weekends on Fridays from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. and Saturdays until 12 a.m. Music to keep you entertained, catering services to suit any budget. Let the local eatery at Champion House 2 cater to you by calling 916-5736 or 329-5550, or place your order via Island Grub or the Let's Eat app today.
In this time of crisis, we are right here to help keep the power on.
We are here to serve you. We are committed to ensuring that you have electricity. Without electricity, not many things will work.
We are right here to help keep the power turned on.
We are CC. You can count on us.
There are few things in Cayman that are as iconic as the 2 for $6 deal at Burger King, with the possible exception of our wonderful marine life. Well, possible exception no more. The Big Fish Sandwich has just joined the other stars of 2 for $6. You heard right. Choose from the iconic Whopper, Crispy Chicken Sandwich, Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich, and now the Big Fish. And get 2 sandwiches for just $6. Hurry, for a limited time only. Available at Burger King 7 Mile Beach, Waterfront, Walkers Road, and Red Bay.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Ruth Anna on Star 927.
We are back, folks, and you are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young. Always honored to be your host here on Straight Talk. We are here until 6 o'clock this evening, now joined in the virtual studio by Mr. Michael Miles and Mr. Alric Lindsay. Certainly no strangers to the Straight Talk studio. I think I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure which one of you. I think the feedback may be coming in a little bit from you, Michael. But welcome back. This is an exciting day for me to be chatting to you guys. Michael, how are you doing? Can you hear me? Alric, can you hear me? Hello?
You might be muted.
Okay, but I can hear you. So how are you doing? We'll work on Michael here shortly.
I'm good.
Awesome. It's an exciting conversation. I think Michael did. There was a post on social media, so I've had some questions already starting to flow in. Let me make sure that I have Michael. Can you hear me? No, I don't think I have his. I don't have his audio quite yet.
Can you?
Okay, so Michael, if you can hear me, if you could just back out of the feed and come back in, and just make sure that your microphone's engaged. Yeah. In the meantime, Mr. Alric Lindsay, I know you guys have been making your media rounds since yesterday. Lots and lots of feedback coming in on social media. Let's see if by Michael coming out and coming back in, that helps. it allows me to be able to hear him. But in the meantime, you guys made a big announcement yesterday, starting yesterday. And so for the benefit of the Straight Talk audience who by some wild chance may not have heard, what's the big announcement? Share with the listening public the decision you guys have made, and what's going to be happening in 2021.
Well, in 2021, we'll be candidates in the elections if they take place in May. I mean, you've heard these suggestions that because we lost a few months during COVID, there's some people in the public who are saying that the elections might be delayed until November. So I wonder if the government is actually considering that. I don't see why elections would have to move from May to November. I just want to make up for the time that we lost during Ivan. I don't know why. But the people are anxious for change to happen, or better governance to happen. And I doubt that the people are going to wait an extra 6 months for the government to put its act in order. So what have you heard from your side what has your audience said about any possible moving of the election day from May to November?
Well, I had only one person so far, that stopped me in public to say they felt that the election should be moved, and their proposition was actually by a year. But I said to them, barring, to my knowledge, the only thing that could really allow that to happen is if the government, for some reason, had to declare a state of emergency. And in the elections website, they continue to have the countdown clock. Wednesday, May 26, 2021, we have 293 days, 6 hours, 23 minutes, and 40 seconds. And so let me just do a quick check-in. Michael, are you there with me? I think I can hear him.
Yes.
I think. All right.
Yes,
there
I'm
we
here.
go. All right. We are good. So Alric helped let that cat out of the bag. You guys, starting yesterday, made your announcement that you intend to stand in the upcoming election in 2021. You have put yourself forward to serve the people of the Cayman Islands. I would like to ask each of you, Michael, what led you to pull the trigger on this decision, right? I know people have asked. I know this is something that's floated around in conversation for you. What made you actually decide to pull the trigger and say, I'm going to put myself forward to ask the people of the Cayman Islands to serve them as their MLA come 2021? Michael? I think I've lost him. I may have lost him again. I'm not sure what happened. And Alric, can you hear me?
Yes, it looks like he's speaking.
Yes, I can see him speaking, but for some reason his microphone has tripped out again because I can't hear him, but I can hear you clearly. And for you, Alric, what led to your decision you ran in the last election now 3.5 years ago. What has made you decide to put yourself forward yet again and stand for election come 2021?
Well, nothing has changed. My idea was to help create a Cayman that had fairness, opportunity and prosperity. That is what I ran on in the last election. And it doesn't appear that much has changed since 4 years ago. And we do know why the same topics come up every election. We always talk about education, unemployment, healthcare, including mental health. Why do the same issues come up? It's because we have a system that produces things like strategic policy statements that only cover 3 years. So the plans that we have as a country tend to only cover an election cycle. Our plans need to be 20, 30, 50 years so that we can participate in where the country is going in the long term, and we can help create a place for our young people to thrive in at a later date. But unfortunately, what happens in Cayman is that we only have these 3-year policies or very, very short-term policies, which don't think about how we're going to look in the long term. And as a result, we are leaving less and less behind for young Caymanians. I mean, if you listen to young Caymanians now, they're wondering, I read the article from Protect Our Future talking about 70% of the ecosystem, going to the highest bidder. And, they're right. The young people are right. We have focused on inward investment, as we call it, and we just want as much money in the country as possible. We want as development in the country as possible. I'm not against development. What I think is that we have to have some balance, and that balance must consider the environment. Like I keep saying, we can't breathe buildings. We're going to have all concrete, and if you can imagine, if we didn't have the pandemic and we had our industries go south due to something other than a pandemic or other than a hurricane, we have to think about what are we going to have here? Are we going to have the environment at least that we can have to protect us from hurricanes? Are we, not natural buffers? Are we going to have those natural buffers? Are we going to have, a bunch of concrete? So we have to really think about, making the environment a mandatory part of our considerations. We need to just start thinking. We have all these reports. Michael will tell you about all the educational reports, reports about crime.
And let me actually do a quick check-in to see. I know Michael exited the stream and has come back in. Michael, let me test to see if I can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Sorry to cut you out, but I wanted to make sure to also get the opportunity to ask Michael the same question. This will be, your first time putting yourself forward to stand for election in 2021, despite the fact that this is not a new question or commentary around you. What has made you decide to pull the trigger and say, yes, I am going to put myself forward for the 2021 election?
I was going to jump in the election 4 years ago, or now about 7 years ago. I wanted to represent Cayman at a national level, and each time I've been really praying and hoping that we would get a political leadership that kind of stands for the things that Alric was talking about. That they stood for helping Caymanians, that they stood for ensuring that our education system isn't about bricks and mortar, but is about developing children and supporting our people. That it's about lowering the cost of living. That it's about making sure that the majority of our people don't end up in poverty. And the more I hoped and prayed that somebody or some organization or some group or some political party would do that, the more I became very distraught and frustrated. And then I've worked in government for a long time. I've tried to broker deals with civil servants, from senior to lower civil servants, to the schools, to the departments. And each time that, I'm saying we have loads of reports that guide conversation, that guides policy, that guides laws, the more I began to get disappointed. And I've just said to myself, well, why not you? If you want this done, the majority of things that I've done in my career, it's because people have failed to do it. And I've just started to say, something, you need to stop asking these people to follow through, and you need to do it. And win, lose, or draw, I want to make sure that people have a clear understanding that they could be led better, that they could be represented better, that there should not be deals happening in the back alleys of government, that deals should be on the table when it comes to spending government's money. That's the people's money. So I stopped asking the question, why isn't this person or this organization or this government fixing it? And I started saying to myself, you need to get into this and you need to fix this. You need to help your people. You need to make sure that you give them honest representation and frankness. I think our people want leadership that is going to be honest, that is going to be upfront, that is not going to hold things back because of a vote. And I see that, Ruthann, I see that that's how our country have slowly become. What we do is rely on the last 6 months or 6 weeks or 3 months of government, and then all of the aid starts to flow. You see a lot of money being spent, roads being laid down, people being listened to, but for 3.5 years the people aren't listened to. The government spent almost $10 million fighting the people on the damn port. We could have used $10 million on so many other things. And that's the part that I get very disgusted about. And then, we're not gaining, right? So we're not getting ahead. As a people, we have more people now in an up. Pre-COVID, we've had more people on welfare and in poverty in an up sort of economy than we've ever had. So the better the economy got, the worse our people got, the worse the education system got. So I started saying to myself, stop complaining, stop whining, stop sitting in your backyard and talking about, well, this one should fix it and that one should fix it. And you are going to have to start to get this stuff done, because again, I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of proven things that have been done, and we just need to follow through now at a national level.
Okay. And I know that the question has been asked of you, but I have to ask as well, because maybe you're ready to put that information out there. Have either of you made a solid, confirmed decision as to which constituency you are going to choose to stand in at this point?
I mean, Alric can answer for himself. I've answered the question yesterday as well. I'm not prepared to answer that question just yet. What I'm looking at right now is talking to people, getting to know, getting more of an understanding. Like, I know quite a bit of the issues, but I'm not here just to listen to the issues in Georgetown. I know a number of issues in all of the constituencies, but I want to get to know people a little bit better. I want them to get to know where I'm coming from. I also want to let people understand what I stand for. Here's what I'm going to be running on. I am not going to be flip-flopping on what I'm going to be running on, because it's the same thing that, Rosanna, I've been on your show many times. I've not stopped talking about how to decrease poverty, how to make sure that the prison system isn't a direct link to our school system, how to make sure that they're more keen on entrepreneurs, how to make sure that education is more diverse and our children aren't getting failing grades and pushed out of the school system, because we see it now in our community. So I want to spend the next couple of months, before I say, hey, I'm going to run this place or that place, I want to spend the next couple of months talking and listening to the Cayman people, coming on to your radio show, coming on to different radio shows, being interviewed by the newspapers, because I want to make sure that Caymanians have a clear understanding. When Michael Myers is in this, I'm not in this just for one constituency. I'm not going to be representing one constituency. I'm going to be representing multiple constituencies, and we have to level set on that, right? There's not everything that everybody's going to agree with me on, but I'm not getting into this because I need a salary. I'm getting into this because I want to serve at a higher level, and I want to make sure that Caymanians are walking with me in tandem, rather than me running ahead and representing things that really they don't want. I want to make sure that there's some national health care for folks who cannot afford it. I want to make sure that mental health and mental illness is addressed. I want to make sure that our education system we don't need to spend another $80 million in it. We need to just get a better result, right? More of our children need to get a better result. And that when they come out of school, that they have an opportunity to compete for jobs, or at least be placed in jobs at a higher level where they're not being paid $6 an hour for the rest of their lives. That when our children come back from overseas schools, that they don't come back and they're sitting on the sidelines while people are telling them that they're overqualified, right? So those are the things that I want to start talking to our people about. And I want to make sure that Caymanians get an opportunity to participate in that, right? As opposed to me coming and lecturing them about what they're doing or not doing. let's have frank conversation about where we want to go as a country. Who exactly do we want to be in our country? Because at the end of the day, we could say we don't want this one or that one. But again, there's a consequence and there's a reward to all of these things, right? So those are the things that I believe that is important rather than where I'm going to run.
Okay, and I'll turn. Thank you for sharing that, and I'll turn to Mr. Lindsay. This will be your second stint, and putting yourself forward to run for election. Have you made a decision as to where you intend which constituents you intend to run for election in the 2021 election?
Well, following the kind instructions of my learned friend there, and he's authorized me to announce my intended area, if I so wish. The reason I didn't previously mention it is because we are on the same platform, and I like to have consistency on the platform, and so since Michael has opened the gate for me to say my area, I'm definitely leaning towards Georgetown South. That's where I was in the last election. Georgetown South is where I grew up, and I do understand what Michael is saying. At the end of the day, although Georgetown South might elect me, and although I may have a district council in Georgetown South to assist me with administration of Georgetown South, we also have a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is entire Cayman. So while I would be happy to execute my duties in the best interest of Georgetown South in relation to specific Georgetown South concerns, the bigger picture is I'm also required to act in the best interest of everyone in Cayman. So we're all stakeholders. We're all stakeholders, and we all must work collectively. We must focus on unity in this country. We must not focus on division, as we see with recent issues. We must understand that sometimes politicians play games. Issues are thrown out into the public because the politicians know that we will become emotional. We're human beings. They know we're going to become emotional about certain issues. And while we become emotional about certain issues, we all of a sudden ignore the other items like education and unemployment and crime and the environment. We seem to just ignore everything else once they push our buttons. And as you can see from the past couple of weeks, the government has been pushing our buttons, and that is deliberate because they knew what they had to do for several years and they didn't do it. But because elections is right around the corner, no one wants to upset their constituents. So a lot of people are putting on a show that, it's not my fault the recent bill didn't pass. It's not my fault. And as you can see, the wonderful speech by the premier, it was an excellent speech, because what that speech basically said was, if you guys on that side, if you don't help me to pass something to give effect to something equivalent, if you don't help me to do it, then England might come and do it. So you see, it's all a game. It's just a game, because if you now look at how people in Cayman feel when they see the announcement from the governor and when they see the announcement from the minister in the UK, you see, it's a game, because now all of a sudden, no one is paying attention to our ministers. No one is saying that they had a responsibility. Now, everyone is actually looking at the governor and saying, oh my goodness, why is the governor doing this to us?
Well, and I just want, for those who may not have yet seen the circulation of the press release and such, because that was one of the questions that did come in prior to showtime, for persons who knew you were going to be on and had also seen the press release. I'm going to share that to put it into context with people, but just a few comments coming in. We have Sandra Hill saying, I'm here for it. Go Alric Lindsay and Michael Miles. And to the earlier I guess, a statement regarding, people possibly calling for a later election. She continues to say, nah, the governor already confirmed the date is May 26th. Linda Clark comes in and says, culturally embedded maladministration in government. The ombudsman report is very concerning. And I think that was in reference to some of the things that Michael was saying. But for those, what Alric is referencing was the press release that came out today. And I'm going to read a bit of it that basically says, from the governor, the statement from His Excellency, the governor on the domestic partnership law. And it continues. In it, it says, despite calls in many quarters for the UK to legislate for same-sex marriage, the FCO decided that passing a version of the current bill would be the right approach, as this would fully comply with the Court of Appeal judgment. Acting on instructions from the Foreign Secretary, I intend to publish on the 10th of August the Domestic Partnership Bill and allow 21 days consultation for the public and members of the Legislative Assembly. My team and that of the Attorney General will be available to consider any additional comments on the provisions of the bill. At the end of this period, acting under instructions from the Foreign Secretary, I will use my reserved powers under Section 81 of the Constitution to assent to the bill. I expect it to be gazetted and come into law in the beginning of September. And so that was part of the statement from the governor. And as that has circulated, a question did come in from a regular listener of the show. In knowing that you guys would be on, basically asking your thoughts on the governor's announcements at this stage, and given that the Privy Council's decision still has to come in February, do either of you want to share your thoughts on that recent?
Let me share mine, right? So should it have come to this? No, Ruthana. I think we elected 19 people. 19 people should have gotten together prior to that bill going to the LA. And 19 people should have sat down like leaders, like adults, and they should have said, these are things that we believe we need this bill because we need to protect all of our citizens. But these are things in the bill that I would like at least to be altered. I'm willing to give and take. We know that we need to do this, but these are things that I'm willing to do in order to make sure that we protect every one of our citizens. They failed to do that. So am I shocked that this is now coming in? No, we've known about this for at least 10 years. I mean, I've been in government for 6, and this has been tossed around in government for a very long time. We've delayed it, we've delayed it, we've delayed it. We refuse to talk about it. Now, everybody wants to hide behind, well, it didn't go to the community for them to have some level of involvement when we've been talking about this for a very long time, right? 19 people have failed the Cayman Islands. 19 people should have said, hey, listen, man, we need to protect our citizens because we know that we have a community of LGBTQ. We want to protect our people. They're our people. They're not going anywhere. Let's protect all of them. It's no different than them having any youth. We are protecting them, right? It's no different from them having Northwood Prison. They're still, while they're behind bars, we still need to protect them. Right? At the end of the day, we have to have some decency and respect. And I think that that's one of the things that was lacking. People are talking about, well, the premier said, well, I'm going to just let people vote their conscience. No, at the end of the day, let's be respectful and let's be decent. This has nothing to do with Christianity. I'm a Christian. This has nothing to do with Christianity. Let's make sure we can protect our people, right? And let's at least give and take. Because politics and elections and all of that is all about, meeting each other halfway. Alric and I aren't naive to think that we're going to just jump in the race and we're going to just legislate the way that we think in our minds. No, there are going to be people who are going to come to say, something, I can swallow this a little bit better, but I also need you to kind of give and take with this stuff as well. There has to be some level of compromise, and we could have done that a long time ago, and we failed to do that. And that's my take on it.
All right, and thank you for sharing that. And Alric, any thoughts from you?
I think it's just all politics. The issue was clearly something that had to be resolved from many years ago. So politicians clearly were aware of what they had to do, but because it's near election, we have this art of what I call an art of deflection. Deflection is basically, in this case, It's like someone saying, you hear lions are dangerous, right? And then but you've never seen a lion, right? And then someone else tells you, see a lion there, and that's what they've done is they've divided the entire Cayman by using fear as a tactic. And by using fear as a tactic, people ignored what the fundamental question was. And they divided the public by telling the public that this is about sex and not about rights. And so if the public had focused on rights and the public had been given an ample opportunity to review everything and not a 30-day period, then could have given a lot more feedback. So I think what happened here is simply the art of deflection. It was a wonderful speech that was given, and the whole idea of that speech was to divide the country and to make people in the country take sides and to make forget about what our other important issues are. If they had thought about this from many,
I don't want to cut you there, but we are past 6 o'clock. So what I do want to ask you both to do is to, if someone wants to reach out to you, both of you have indicated you want to talk to the people of the Cayman Islands, to get to know them, for them to get to know you. Michael, how do people reach you if they want to reach out to you to start a conversation with you and to get to know you and your intentions better?
939-1301, or they can email me at michaelmiles1117@gmail.com.
All right. And Mr. Lindsay, how do people reach you if they want to reach out to you in order to start a conversation with you, get to know what you're going to stand for in the 2021 election?
My email is alriclindsay@gmail.com, ALRICLINDSAY@gmail.com. The number is 926-1688.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. A very exciting announcement. There continues to be much excitement around the fact that you guys have put yourself forward for the 2021 election, and many people have appreciated the fact that you have decided to put yourself forward early and earlier than I guess anyone who is not already an incumbent. Thank you for joining me on the show. Look forward to future conversations as always, especially over the next few months, and seeing what happens at the finish line come May 26, 2021. To the listening public, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you all. We are at the end of our time together, and tune in tomorrow for some more Straight Talk on Star 92.7.